So I graphed over this area, and I found a large tree that's laid down in the water, and what appears to be um, some well, not man-made, but some brush that was put out by man. Just because of the way it's set up, there's this creek channel that runs out here into the river channel. So it's if you look at this on a map, it's just a natural point, place to fish. So I graphed over it, and there's a tree, and then that brush, I don't know what that brush is. Limbs, whatever. I don't know, but you could tell it's doesn't look very fallen over wise. It looks like something different when I'm looking at it on the side image. And I may go back over that and get a shot of that on the camera and show you what I'm talking about. But so anyhow, I drove over that and marked it. So I got a big crankbait out and just been searching around trying to find it. I didn't see any fish on it when I graphed it, but I wanted to fish it and make sure I got a good mark on it. This will be a place to come back to early spring, before they move in off the river channel to go back there in this pocket to spawn. This will be a good stopping place. Or when in the fall, when they really start pushing these shad in the creeks and stuff, it's just a natural spot to stop on ambush point, through the edge of the creek channel. So got a pretty good idea where it's at now. Kind of got lined up on it pretty good where I can hit it about every cast. So like I said, I didn't see any fish on it. I did find it with this crankbait. So I'm going to get out a smaller bait. It's not really deep where it's at. It's about 8 foot. And then the bigger tree of it is in about 10 or 12 foot. So now I'm going to get out a worm on a Carolina rig and throw it up there and run it through there really slow, and see if we can pick something up, or either throw a jig up there or something. Like I said, I didn't see any fish on it, so we're not going to spend a lot of time there, but I do want to fill it out really good. And with this side image, one little pixel could represent a fish, and I wasn't really looking for a big clump of fish. I was just looking for the structure, and that's what we found. So obviously we're going to fish it for a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the old ball of chain out there, old Carolina rig, and just a little straight worm here, a little paddle tail worm, and put this out there, see if we can get bit at all. And if we don't, then we'll move on. We'll go back to what we were doing in the edge of these current seams on the river, and go back to throwing that worm and jig and spinnerbait and crankbait and whatever else we find, and see what we can get a hold to. But there is a little activity up here, and that's the reason I didn't want to just graph this and leave. There's gar that are breaking the surface up here, catching air, and there's current right here outside of us. I hadn't seen any minnows or shad or anything flickering, but there's life. So that's kind of promising. So we'll give it a few minutes and see what happens. It's something you always want to look for when you pull up into any area that you think you want to fish or whatever. Really process what's going on out there. See if there's life around. Are there squirrels on the bank running around? Do you see any deer, which is always a plus? Are there ducks over there? Just look for any kind of life, not just on the bank in the water. Are there fish breaking the surface? There's a bite right there. It's a big one. Got me hung in this tree. I can feel him shaking around down there, but let's go up here on top of this tree and see what we can do. I can feel him shaking. me off below my weight there. That's what happens. That's what happens. What do you do? Right, what do you do? That's okay, that's okay. We found some structure, right? So we grabbed it, we got to see this, drove around on top of it. Got to find it with a crankbait, right? Which was what we wanted to do, and then fished around for just a minute and threw something out there that we thought would get a bit, and it did get bit, and he hung us up and he broke us off. So we've got our weight back and nothing else. At least I got that $8 tungsten weight back, right? All right.